I'm Bob Ryan. This is Globe 10.0. With me today is Chad Finn. Well, Chad, they say sometimes that everything old is new again. And speaking of recycling, the Boston Red Sox are interviewing Bobby Valentine, who absolutely does not fit the profile of any of the other guys they've interviewed. What do you make of all this?
You don't think he's a Carmine user? It's fascinating. It surprises me. It tells me Larry Lucchino's probably running the show there because he's not a sabermetrics guy by any stretch. A thing that concerns me about Bobby Valentine is it ended very badly with the Mets, similar to the way it did with the Red Sox last year.
Oh, how? Elaborate, please.
Well, there were a couple, I think it was 7 players who had drug issues. One guy was smoking marijuana and passed out in the parking lot. You read the story of when he was fired and you think, how is John Lackey not on this team? Because it was a mess.
It's interesting, too, because his image would be that of a taskmaster,
yeah.
A guy that, a hard-nosed guy. That's very interesting, and I'm sure that will come up in the conversation because if you're looking for somebody to police the clubhouse, obviously that would be concerning you. Well, it wasn't then, but it's 9 years ago. Plus, he's had another stint in Japan, which was his second time around there. First time didn't end well there either, and this time it ended very well in Japan. For the most part. But the whole thing is the philosophy thing here. The difference between what they claimed that they were looking for and what he represents. I call it old math, new math, and new math. They've interviewed the new math guys. He was always the one old math guy out there. And so, as you made the allusion here to Lucchino versus Cherington, will people buy Ben Cherington standing proudly in front of a gathering introducing his new manager?
I won't. I don't know about you. I'll be watching Lucchino to see what his ticks and reactions are. But it's very interesting because if you listen to ESPN telecast, Bobby V is a very bright baseball guy, but he tells you he's a bright baseball guy.
Oh, no, my question with him, I loved him as an analyst last summer, but I did say early on, I bet you did too, if he tries to tell you everything he knows in 30 seconds, and he had to curb that tendency. And he got a little better at that, but that's TV talk. That's another matter. He does have a brilliant baseball mind. And what about, were you a fan of his ever in either Texas or New York?
Yeah, I think he was innovative in Texas. They did a lot of stuff. It was Tom House, too, as a pitching coach.
Yes.
And they did a lot of advanced stuff with their pitching staff that worked out pretty well for them. He was like 35 then. He was a very young guy.
He was young. Well, of course, we can go over, once they hire him, we can go over the whole history for you if you don't know it. But it's a rather fascinating history that includes being a champion ballroom dancer. And maybe that was one of the criterion that the other guys lack. Who knows? Anyway, Bobby Valentine, stay tuned.